Hey, Vasquez.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man?
No. Have you?
Oh, Vasquez.
Meet the Vasquez, the masculine woman. Named after Jeanette Goldstein's character in Aliens because all the other words I could think of carried the wrong connotations. Also, Goldstein? Really? The Vasquez is rough. She's tough. She's hard drinking. She's foul-mouthed. She's gun-savvy. She's sexually aggressive. And, most importantly, she's one of the guys. If the most common coding is that men are violent and women are passive, and the action screenwriter assumes a male audience won't like their female character because they can't stand to think that violence could ever be feminine, the obvious solution? Make the lady man up. If she resembles a man, she can be fashioned into any number of existing male archetypes, from military grunt to double agent to assassin. Her closest male counterpart is the hard body, a staple of the 80s action milieu. In a hard body movie, we either meet a man who's a pillar of masculine strength, or we watch an ostensibly regular guy spend the movie becoming one. Similarly, the Vasquez is sometimes introduced fully formed, but more often than not, we watch her emerge from the body of a traditionally feminine woman. And where a hard body's training montage shows what is soft becoming hard, the Vasquez shows what is feminine becoming masculine.
And it's called amenorrhea when you lose your period. It's because you drop body fat, but that's not at all unusual for female athletes.
In either gender, we can call this process ruggedization. And it's not only physical. As a character acclimates to violence, there's often a change in presentation. Most especially with a woman, ruggedization may not be the gaining of muscle, but the shedding of feminine signifiers. Note how Ripley, over the course of 3 movies, goes from having all the hair to a lot of the hair to none of the hair, thereby resembling all the men in the movie, as she becomes more of an action heroine. Note how as Thelma goes from neurotic housewife to a woman who robs liquor stores and holds up policemen, we see her go from frilly white dresses, to denim, to dirty sleeveless tops. Note the scene where Louise sits down at a truck stop, takes off every piece of jewelry she owns, and trades them for a man's cowboy hat.
Where'd you get this? Stolen.
Also, in correlation with becoming violent, there tends to be, call it a shift in patterns of speech.
Suck my dick.
Suck it, bitch.
Suck my dick. Every one of you bastards.
The Vasquez maintains the association between powerlessness and womanness codified by the Innocent because, as the woman sheds her weakness, she also sheds her womanness. The two are treated as the same thing. Violence stays masculine, and women get violent when they become honorary men. So Fury Road's trick is to take its plurality of female characters and just scatter them across the entire gender spectrum. In terms of presentation, you've got the highly feminine wives, the traditionally masculine garb of the Vavellini, and Furiosa somewhere in between. The film subverts the spectrum further by softly rejecting the notion that a person occupies any single position along it. Toast is very feminine, and also knows her way around guns. The Vavellini are a leather-wearing, pants-sporting biker gang, and also are the many mothers, who care about feminine-coded things like cooperation, empathy, gardening. Masculinity and femininity are not an either-or. Many traits exist in varying proportions in all people. Traditional femininity is valorized in our male heroes as well. Traits like healing, softness, deference to superior skill, self-sacrifice. These things are treated as inherently valuable irrespective of one's gender, and absolutely mission-critical to their success in battle. Basically, every time a man does something that human embodiment of toxic masculinity Joe would disallow, it helps them win. This goes a long way towards elevating femininity, but also breaking up the male-female dichotomy, allowing anyone to possess any trait from anywhere along the spectrum and still be strong. The fact that Joe does treat gender as an either-or, that he does not foster community nor empathy with his followers, that he only maintains his loyalty by imposing a Norse-inspired death cult that leads his warboys into reckless behavior and crumbles instantly if it's ever challenged, These things are liabilities. Men and women are at their strongest, not at their most masculine, at their most like Joe, but when they are free to be as masculine and as feminine as the situation requires of them. What's wrong with Joe isn't masculinity. Masculine signifiers abound on both sides of the fight. It's a malignant masculinity that rejects all but the most extreme of one end of the spectrum. This narrowness is what gets Joe killed.